Hi everyone, Driven is back. This time powered by Petronas Dynamic Diesel. And guess who else is back? By popular demand.
Oh yes folks, it's me, Hafriz. So glad to be back. Here we're looking at 3 brand new trucks in Malaysia, the Nissan Navara, the Ford Ranger and the Mitsubishi Triton.
Now this is going to be fun. We thought it'd be good to mark the return of Hafriz by looking at big, heavy cars, right Haf? Alright then, time to find out which pickup truck is the best here. Cue the music.
Pickups. Now that's a segment that has seen many changes over the last few decades.
They were once seen merely as work tools, but over the years, they have been refined and upgraded.
These are not your Uncle Chong's pickup trucks. Yes, they are rugged and tough, but they're also well accessorized. And dare I say, luxurious.
Some of you may be asking, where's the Toyota Hilux? I mean, that's only the best-selling pickup truck in Malaysia for God knows how long.
The answer is simple. We're trying out the very best that pickup trucks can offer in Malaysia.
The all-new Hilux isn't here yet. And if we were to pitch the old one against these fresh new things, it just wouldn't be a fair fight.
And until the new one is out, it's up to these three to battle it out. Say hello to the latest crop of upmarket trucks, made for the urban jungle. At the top of the pile is the Ford Ranger, here in its facelifted 3.2 Wildtrak version. It's as expensive as pickups get in Malaysia, but as you'll find out in a bit, it has the brawn and tech to justify its high price.
Next up is the latest Nissan Navara. It's fresh, it's bold, it's the new mother trucker. It now has coil spring rear suspension instead of leaf springs like on the other trucks. It should be the most SUV-like pickup yet.
Far from cheap, but the most affordable option here is the Mitsubishi Triton. It has long been the truck that didn't quite look like a truck, and this new version takes that formula to a whole new level.
Let's start with looks. To me, the Navara is the best looking truck here, and the headlights are full LEDs. How cool is that? Around the back, I'm like, where's the sports bar, man? It looks naked without it. But check this out, a rear spoiler on a truck. That's either ridiculous or awesome. I think it's pretty awesome.
Unlike the other two, the Ranger here is not an all-new model. It is just the facelift. However, the entire front end is completely new. But I'm not too sure if that's a good thing because I kind of prefer the older one as it looks more aggressive. And there's also another thing. It's the only truck here without LED DRLs. Like, isn't it 2015 already?
The Triton is a bit of an acquired taste, to be honest. You either love it or hate it. You'll love it if you like your pickup trucks to look curvy rather than boxy. You'll hate it if you can't stand those metal jaws of a grille. Good thing is, the wheels look great, the side steps look really cool, and the sports bar is now offered for free.
As for the truck bed, the Triton has the smallest one here. If you're after absolute volume, you'd want the Ranger.
The Ford has the highest payload too. There's also a handy 12-foot socket for outdoor use, and the sports bar even has cargo lights. Now that's convenient.
As for the Navara, it's the weakest at carrying loads. The coil springs may be good for ride comfort, but it sinks badly with heavy cargo. If you're actually planning to use this truck to lift heavy stuff on a regular basis, give this one a miss. A good reason to buy the Navara is for the rear cabin. Space-wise, it's actually the smallest among the three by a tiny margin, and the rear seat is not quite as good as a Triton. But it's the only one with rear aircon vents. In our weather, that's a big positive point.
The Ranger isn't so good back here. Yes, you get the most amount of legroom, but the seat back is a bit too upright. It's really not comfortable. However, on the plus side, you do get a 230 volt inverter, which can be quite handy. And while the seats are just part leather, they are still way better than the Triton's terrible leather.
Obviously, fake leather aside, the Triton has the most car-like, most comfortable seats by a long, long way. A win for the Triton at last.
The Ranger, without doubt, is the most high-tech pickup truck ever sold in Malaysia. It comes with a touchscreen LCD panel, a semi-digital instrument display, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist as well, and leather-covered dashboard. But there's one thing that I don't like about the car. It's the only one here without keyless entry.
Up front, the Triton falls right to the back of the field again. Better than the old model, but that's about it. It's the cheapest here and feels it. While the others get a powered driver's seat, this one is all manual.
Inside, I'd give the win to the Navara too. The seat here is the best among the lot, and the whole feel is more like an SUV than a truck. Issues, well, this optional screen here looks a little bit aftermarket, and the standard screen is so small, it's pathetic. But hey, enough complaining, let's get on with it. Okay guys, let's go, roll out! First up, let's not forget that in other markets, the Navara gets an all-new 2.3-litre twin-turbocharged engine. Here in Malaysia, we get the old 2.5-litre, same as before. It's been up-tuned, of course, so it now gets 190 PS, and it gets quite close to the Ranger's 3.2-litre engine. Still, out here on the roads, it feels nowhere near as powerful. This engine needs a lot of revs to move, but the thing is, the 7-speed automatic gearbox can be a little bit slow to drop some gears. There's always a little bit of delay before it really gets going. What is this? Proton CVT? Not good.
It's much the same with the Triton. We miss out on the more advanced 2.4-litre Maybach turbo diesel. Instead, we get the old 178 PS VGT engine. In this group, the Triton feels ancient. There's a loud and crude diesel clatter both at idle and acceleration. It lags behind in performance as well. With its old 5-speed transmission, it just feels like it needs to work harder to keep up with the rest. To its credit, it does get paddle shifters for extra control. But on the other hand, this is a truck. What am I going to use them for? Racing.
And now the Ranger. The engine is quite terrible. Nah, just kidding. It is fantastic. Really no complaints here. The 5-cylinder turbo diesel engine is so smooth and it's very quiet as well. It doesn't feel like a traditional pickup truck, if you know what I mean. It has the highest power and torque in this group, and you can definitely feel it. It has so much torque down low that you don't really need to rev the engine as much, and the 6-speed automatic transmission is equally as good. It's miles ahead of its competition. Very nice. The Ford is also the best to drive. In terms of handling, there are no other pickups that can actually challenge the Ranger. With other trucks, you have to be very careful with the height and the weight when you drive, but not with the Ford. You can drive it like as if you're driving a normal car. Simply put, the Ranger is the best handling pickup truck in the market. Full stop.
The Navara gets closest to the Ranger in terms of driving dynamics, but not close enough. As far as body control goes, it's just decent, but not quite as balanced as the Ranger. Another issue is the steering wheel. It's just too loose and too detached that it gives no confidence whatsoever to the driver. Next to the Ford, it's quite disappointing to be honest.
Worse still is the Triton. It's much too soft to be driven anywhere fast. It's just not built for that. No, in this truck, it's best to take it slow. There's another good reason for that. It can get quite bumpy in here at speed, especially in the back. Now don't get me wrong, this is still far better than the older generation pickups, including the Toyota Hilux. But compared to the other two here, this one's just outclassed. It's not all bad though. The Triton does have a turning circle that's the best in its class, making it the easiest to maneuver around town and to park.
And speaking about town driving, this Ranger is an improvement over the older one as it comes with electric power steering. Now with that, you lose a bit of the feel, but it's a lot lighter at low speeds, and honestly, to me, that is a very good compromise. The ride, it is better than the older one, but in terms of comfort, there is a new class leader in town. It's the Nissan Navara.
And yes, we now come to the Navara's party trick, its ride. This is easily the most comfortable car here, and its rear multi-links really pays off right now. The ride is so subtle, it's almost like an SUV. I know, I keep comparing it to an SUV, but heck, it's true. This car, with this ride, is simply outstanding, especially for the rear passengers.
To find out the truck's fuel economy, we tested them with Petronas Dynamic Diesel over everyday driving conditions. Developed through successful involvement in the Dakar Rally, the fuel gives superior fuel efficiency and increased reliability for modern diesel cars and trucks.
No surprises which one used the most fuel. The 3.2-litre Ford Ranger averaged just 9 km per litre. The Mitsubishi Triton didn't fare much better either, with just 9.3 km per litre. Best of the lot is the Nissan Navara at 9.9 km per litre thanks to its 7-speed transmission stall gearing.
Okay gentlemen, now that we've driven all three cars, what are your thoughts?
Sadly, the Mitsubishi Triton has to come in last. It's loud, down on power, and the least comfortable.
And let's not forget, it's the only one here without electronic stability control.
Well, to be perfectly fair, for the same amount of money, both the Nissan and Ford gives you lower specs. Stability control aside, of course.
Yeah, and for that price, you can only get the Ranger 2.2 and the Navara V, which has less power. Can we all agree that the Triton makes for a good budget choice?
Now, choosing between the Nissan Navara and the Ford Ranger is a lot more difficult. For me, the Nissan Navara looks great, has a much better rear cabin, and its ride is just sublime for a truck.
The Ford, though, has the nicest engine by far, and it's also the best to drive. On top of that, it has class-leading safety features. For example, 6 airbags compared to just 2 in the others.
All things considered, it all boils down to the price. Now, we all agree the Ranger Wildtrak is absurdly expensive, and we can't for the life of us recommend paying that much for a pickup truck.
So, our verdict is this. The absolute best truck here has to be the Ford Ranger. But the one you should put your own money down for is the Nissan Navara. Make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Now with that, we have reached the end of our show. We'll see you next week. Driven, powered by Petronas Dynamic Diesel.